Under Prime Minister Mark Carney, Canada is experiencing something we haven't seen in decades, a wave of global investment not just returning, but accelerating. And today the world witnessed another milestone. Microsoft has announced a historic $7.5 billion expansion into Canada, choosing this country as a major hub for the next generation of artificial intelligence infrastructure. This is not just an economic win, it is a strategic shift. A shift away from Canada's long-standing dependence on the United States. A shift toward a future where Canada becomes one of the world's core players in AI, cloud computing, and digital sovereignty. And this transformation is happening because Mark Carney has spent months positioning Canada as the stable, trusted alternative in a world of political volatility. In the global race to dominate AI, the biggest companies, Google, OpenAI, Amazon, all require massive data capacity. AI systems consume extraordinary computing power, demanding new energy infrastructure, faster servers, and massive data campuses. Canada now stands out as one of the most attractive destinations for this future.
This is big money. This is all part of a multi-billion-dollar investment that Microsoft has committed to by, 2027? Why is Microsoft investing in our digital sovereignty?
I mean, the future we know is AI, and just about every other tech company, so OpenAI, Google, Amazon, they're all throwing tens of billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars into what's called their AI infrastructure. We know that AI needs a lot of compute power. It makes computers work really hard. So you've got to build even bigger data centers to power that. Every time you ask ChatGPT a question, you're making a server in a data center work. And so you've got to build bigger data centers than you have now. You've got to build electricity to power them. You've got to make sure that it's close to where the people who use it live. And as it turns out, Canada is an amazing place to build data centers because of our climate, because of our education levels, because of our economy, because of our access to great technologies.
Canada's climate, energy resources, education levels, and tech ecosystem all combine to make it a natural home for AI infrastructure. And rather than default to U.S. locations, as tech companies, Microsoft has chosen Canada as a central pillar of its global strategy. This is not incidental. This is the result of a deliberate national shift. One of Carney's core economic philosophies has been reducing Canada's exposure to U.S. political instability. In the digital world, that means ensuring Canadian data, Canadian innovation, and Canadian companies are protected from American oversight and foreign jurisdiction. This is why the government prioritized attracting world-class data centers into Canada, and why Microsoft sees enormous strategic value in locating its cloud and AI infrastructure north of the border.
We know that the federal government has talked about wanting more data centers built in this country to move away from our reliance on the U.S. So some people are asking, well, why invite an American company to do the building of this?
No, because the sad truth is when you look at the tech giants on planet Earth, not many of them come from Canada. So as great as it would be if we had Canadian companies doing this, the sad reality is we don't. So we have to rely on subsidiaries of American companies to commit to the Canadian economy. And that's the case here. It's the best of, frankly, not an optimal situation. But Microsoft has deep roots here already, so we may as well take advantage of them. And if they're offering to write some really big checks to bring Canada or help Canada compete in the AI economy, we certainly wouldn't want to say no to it.
For those listening right now, they're going, wait a second, what is sovereignty? Let's walk through that a little bit. And what safeguards are needed to be in place for this?
So we live in what's called the cloud-based world. Every time you sign into something, you go to a website, you use your Gmail, you download an app and start using it, you're interacting with the cloud. So your data, all the stuff that you do, is stored somewhere else, somewhere on the internet. And because of the way the internet is architected and because American companies dominate, most of that data doesn't stop at the Canadian border. Some of it could sit in a data center in the U.S. We didn't care about that before this year, but thanks to the political climate, now we do.
And this matters because Canadian data often flows into American servers, where it can fall under U.S. law, something that has become a rising concern in today's unpredictable political environment. Carney's vision is simple. Innovation should be Canadian. Data should stay in Canada. Opportunity should grow in Canada. Microsoft's $7.5 billion commitment proves that this strategy is working. The world is changing, and global companies are searching for stability. They want predictable policy, they want skilled talent, and they want governments aligned with technological transformation. And increasingly, they are not finding that stability in the United States. Under Carney, Canada has positioned itself as the answer. A safer regulatory environment, a talent pipeline unmatched in AI research, a reliable, innovation-focused government, a long-term tech strategy backed by major infrastructure planning. Microsoft recognized these advantages, and its decision to expand massively into Canada is a signal to the rest of the world. Canada is becoming the preferred home for next-generation technology.
So Microsoft has been in Canada for 40 odd years now. They've got significant investments here. Over 5,000 people from them work here. So it kind of makes sense for them to double down on AI here because they've got a huge client base in Canada. May as well serve them with technology right here north of the border.
This is momentum, and it's accelerating. Large-scale data infrastructure brings environmental responsibilities, high power usage, heat output, and significant water consumption for cooling systems. Unlike many countries scrambling to manage these issues, Canada is already implementing regulatory frameworks to ensure that these investments grow sustainably. Carney's government has emphasized a model of growth with responsibility, pairing economic expansion with environmental protections. Something that resonates strongly with tech giants increasingly under pressure to meet global sustainability standards. This balance is part of why Canada is becoming a magnet for long-term, high-value investment.
Why are people concerned about that aspect of this?
It's a significant problem because data centers get hot, and so the water is used as part of their cooling systems. But of course, if you're taking that much water out of the grounds, out of the water system, the water table, that can have a significant impact on the ecology nearby. We're starting to see some reports that show pollution levels are rising in areas that have large concentrations of data centers. We don't think about it nationally, but certainly if you've got a data center sitting next to your town, that's a concern, and the research is already worrying. So, if we're going to be building this capability, and we are, Canada's a great place for that, we need to make sure that we have environmental standards in place to protect the ecology, protect the environment around these places so that we don't ruin the lovely Canada that we already have in the pursuit of AI.
Microsoft's $7.5 billion commitment is more than an economic. It is the clearest confirmation yet that Canada, under Mark Carney, is rising as one of the world's future tech powers. Carney promised to reposition Canada on the global stage, and now the world's biggest companies are validating that vision with multi-billion-dollar decisions. This investment means more jobs, more innovation, more sovereignty, and a stronger, more independent Canadian economy. Canada is no longer the secondary choice. Canada is now the strategic choice, and as long as this leadership continues, the investments will keep coming. Subscribe to Canada Today and stay with us as we follow every major step of Canada's economic transformation.